All right, new day, new progress. So obviously I'm using Total Seal rings. Straight from the Total Seal website, they recommend, obviously you're gonna recommend your own shit, but I've never used their rings and I wanna try something new, so I'm going with their recommendation of, they use this dry assembly lube, quick seat. There's plenty of videos. I'll quickly go over what they said in their videos before I assemble these, but essentially this is like a dry lubricant that you rub in the cylinders. It's supposed to turn them green if they're good to go. It'd be like a flat green color. We'll see that when we start doing it. And they recommend putting their Total Seal assembly lube on their piston skirts and piston rings, and the two together are supposed to, for one, it's supposed to lubricate the piston skirt and rings for initial startup, and I guess they're supposed to act together and help seat the rings faster. I don't know. That's their company though, that's their stuff. I'm gonna take their word for it. From their tech videos, it shows as far as like cylinder prep, they don't recommend using anything like ATF or any kind of crazy other fluids to clean the cylinders. They recommend WD-40 and a clean cotton rag. So that's what I've done. I went through and I've already wiped all these down. Do a quick check here. Got a nice clean spot on my white rag to show up any dirt if I still have any. My hand's a little bit too big for this, so I'm doing my best here. But I got a little bit at the bottom here where my fingertips are, but I'd say that's pretty clean. So now we're gonna apply the dry lube to the cylinder walls. All right, so I've already done the first one. See, it's got a nice little green hue to it. Moving on to the second one. If I get my flashlight set, well, that's fucking awesome. All right. So a little bit goes a long way, which is good because they barely put anything in there. I paid all that money for this thing, and that's how much it came with. It's ridiculous. Anyways, a little trick or a little tip here is to start all the way at the bottom. Obviously, the piston doesn't go all the way in the bottom, so you don't need to get too crazy with this, but I try and reach in there as far as I can. Start at the bottom, work my way up, because otherwise you're just going to wipe off everything else at the top that you put in there already. So working around. There goes my flashlight again. You feel it, sometimes it'll lump up and like cake up in there. Just gotta work those lumps out. But help if I could see. Flashlight's taking a break again. Just a smidge more. And now I'm gonna reach as far as my finger will go. That fucking light. My garage sucks right now. I'm waiting on this house to be renovated so I can actually install some decent lights here in my garage, but right now I'm stuck with, I have 3 single bulbs that run the length of the garage, and they're fucking terrible. But I don't know if you can see, it's got a nice little green tint to it. Nice and clean. I'm gonna do that to all of them. And then I'm gonna get back to throwing these pistons in there. All right, got all the cylinders wiped down with this stuff. Not sure how it shows up on the camera, but nice little green hue to all of them. You know you did a good job if you just fisted an alien when you're done. Now the Total Seal recommendation is to rub their piston, rub their proprietary blend of assembly lube. This guy right here. They say to rub it on the piston skirts and the piston rings before you slide them together, so that's what I'm gonna do. All right, so I'm at my little prep station over here. taking my old. These are used. I mean, they have very low miles on them. The guy said 20,000, 30,000. I thought he was lying, so I started taking them apart. I mean, look at those bearings. They look fresh. But they're standard. They're factory bearings, stamped Ford. So I'll go ahead and take these old bearings out. Obviously, I already have my rings installed. They're just not oriented yet. I just need to put some lube on them and twist them around. Need to do some brake clean. Wipe it out real good. Because you want your new bearings to go in dry. So you want to get all the oil and residue out of there. New bearing. They're marked upper and lower. Can't really see that on camera, but this one is an upper. Got a tang. Tang goes to tang. I'm wiping it off right now. I'm sure you can't see it, but I like to put the tang in, level it out, and then just kind of drop the backside in. Make sure it's nice and flush on each end. Good. Throw a little bit of lube on there. This is Ultra Slick Permatex. That's why I use on pretty much everything. Except for the piston skirt, I'm going to use the Total Seal recommended junk. All right, bottom half, I'm going to go ahead and spray this out with some brake clean, wipe it out too. Nice and clean. All right, making sure this is marked correctly. This one says lower, so we're good. I'll give it a quick wipe because it's got a bunch of cardboard residue on it. Same thing. Tang. Tang. I bottom out my tang side first, and then I rotate it in. Make sure they're nice and even on each side. And they are. Throw some lube on it. All right, that's ready to go. So now, let's get this piston ready. So, with these SVT Manley rods, from the factory, SVT goes forward. There's something to be said about the chamfer and which side has more or less. But I'm using narrowed bearings on a wide rod, so the chamfer really doesn't mean anything on this point. From the factory though, Ford installed them with SVT facing forward, so that's what I do. Some people like to go forward on one side with the chamfer and then reverse on the other side. I don't know. If you look, the chamfer is essentially, I mean, it's close enough to perfect in the middle, so I just do like Ford did, put the SVT forward, which correlates with my little arrow here. Anyways, so Top Seal recommends putting a bunch of their lube on the front and back of their rings. I like to just kind of push the rings forward, smear a bunch in the gaps there, and then same thing here. And then I just give a good spin, work it in there. I think there's no denying that I have plenty of lubrication on the outside and inside of these ring lands. Total Seal says to smear it a bunch on the skirt as well, which is what I'm going to do here. Get the skirt all nice and lubed up. Now we need to fix the orientation of our rings here. So in front of the engine, Top Seal says The very first compression ring needs to face the, if that's the front of the engine, this would be the 3 o'clock. Second compression ring needs to face the 9 o'clock, which it does. And then the oil ring, the expander ring that's in the middle here, find your little praying hands, the little, where it meets together needs to fit. Also in the 9 o'clock position. So there we go. Got my little praying hands here. It's roughly in the 9 o'clock position. Now move on to the top and bottom oil rings. So the bottom needs to be at about the 1 o'clock position, which it is. The top needs to be at the 11 o'clock position, or sorry, the bottom needs to be at the 11 o'clock. The top needs to be back here at the about 7 o'clock. So if I can find that thing, my motion sensor light just turned, there it is. Turned off and I couldn't see shit for a minute. That's the first thing I'm gonna upgrade about this garage is the lighting. It sucks in here. Yeah, so found that top ring. Probably should went the opposite direction here, actually. There we go. Move it back around. So it's about 7 or 8 o'clock position. The top one, or yeah, top is about 7 or 8. The bottom is about the 11-ish. Top compression ring, 3 o'clock. Second compression ring, 9 o'clock. Done. Now, maybe I fucked up, maybe Amazon fucked up, I don't know, but they sent me an 89mm ring compressor, which is not correct. It needs to be 90 at the very minimum. 91, I think. That doesn't work, so I had to use the old cheap Advanced Auto Special. I hate these ring compressors, but you know, in a pinch they work. So helps though, before you tighten it up, get this nice and square, because it will screw you up trying to drop it in a cylinder. Let me get one more click out of this. There we go. Nice and compressed. Let's move it over to the engine. Very last cylinder here. I've got all the other ones in already. So SVT faces forward. Driver in. There it is. Now I like to reach under here and guide the rod down to the crank. There it is, bottomed out. Let's flip her over. I want to verify that your rod bearing is still nice and flush on each end. It is. Grab your rod cap. Tang side goes to tang side. Drop her in there. I don't know if you saw that. There's a tang. Lines up with the other tang. Flat, flat. Now, ARP studs. Everything I've read on these so far says 55 pound-feet for the stock pieces, the factory pieces, so that's what I'm doing. I'm doing 3 stages, 20 pounds, 40 pounds, and then 50 pounds. Get a little bit of ARP lube on the threads, and then also on the head of the bolt. Same with this one. Get her nice and lubed up. There's some hair there. Don't put hair in your engine. These are an 11mm. Try and keep it going down even as much as possible. I'm just hand tightening it right now. There we are. Got this little digital adapter because I found that my torque wrench is a little bit off. So roll it up. Do about 14 just to get it going. Now 20, 20, 40, 40, and final pass 55. We'll be in position here. Try and flip this around that we can see it, but I don't know what I do. All right, 55. Now, I'm gonna go through and check all of them, make sure they're all at 55, and then moving on to oil pump and pickup tube.